Yo, what's happening everybody? King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Go Bat Like video. Today we're going to be showcasing some fun battles here in the Little Cup featuring Ducklett. Now we're going to get into all the details about Ducklett. Should you power it up, should you run it? Because after all, this Pokemon is ranked number 3 in the Little Cup. But before we do get into the video guys, really quick, hit that like button for me and subscribe if you haven't done so already. It'd be very much appreciated and it helps out the channel a ton. And we have a very nice and growing Discord community, feel free to join. Link in the description down below. Finally, if you wish to become a channel member, that is now available on the channel because you guys got me to 1,000 subs quite recently, and that is actually something that we have here. So if you're interested in that, it's completely optional, but you can become a member if you wish to. Alright here, so hopping into the battles, we've got a pretty interesting match here. We've got Drifloon, which is a Pokemon that I do want to run pretty soon. I think I might run it tomorrow. I'm just trying to save up the 75k dust for the second charge move. I don't know about you guys, but I'm living from day to day with Stardust at the moment, powering up stuff for this little cup. But in comes a double as well, which of course is going to start wrecking my bug type. But these bug buzzes are no joke, folks, and that's what I do quite like about Shelmet here. It can get off a lot of neutral damage against most of the Pokemon in this meta. But anyway, let's get into Ducklett here. So this is a Pokemon I wanted to run for a couple of days, didn't have one, I decided to power one up. Burned in about, probably about 120k on Ducklett, which is the absolutely hilarious thing about this cup, spending like 120k on 500 CP Pokemon here, but I decided to burn it, and you know, to be honest with you, at the very start, it was going sublimely. It was going absolutely fantastic, folks. We won our first 3 matches, and like we did see the occasional Bronzor, which of course is the hardest counter for this Pokemon. But if you don't run into that, this Pokemon is really good. You can see even in this Why Not match, what I decide to do here actually, because the mirror coats on this Pokemon are pretty terrible, I decided to dip out into my Bronzor, thinking that, okay, we've got Shelmet in the back, which is the hardest check to Why Not. So we'll bank a Brave Bird on this, and then dip out. But guys, to be honest with you, like, whenever I was running this team, I just kept getting dinos. I know you guys have probably noticed that too, like, you just keep running into the same Pokemon sometimes, if you're running a certain Pokemon. I kept running into dinos. And like literally for that exact reason, and you know, for all of the dark types and Bronzors that are in the meta, I actually would not recommend running Ducklett, believe it or not. It does insane damage, and if you get it in the right scenario, it will just absolutely wipe out Pokemon. Like, ladies and gents, this thing can wipe out anything. Look at this, right? So this is Squovid, which you guys know, the, you know, big boy Greedent. Look at that, that done an insane amount of damage. That is one of the bulkier Pokemon in this meta. That Brave Bird just absolutely wipes out anything, pretty much, that is not a Bronzor. So like, it has a ton of potential. If you're maybe using 2 Pokemon that have a lot of shield pressure, and then you're able to keep a shield for the Ducklett and get off like back-to-back Brave Birds, and maybe if you want to run it as a closer instead of a lead, you know, there is definitely some potential with it. But definitely as a lead Pokemon, I found it to be not that great, honestly. Most of my leads were like dinos. Why Not as an okay-ish lead. I of course got some Bronzor leads, which you will do. And we do catch this on the Ducklett right here, which is quite nice. And we're basically going to farm this down, and we'll be able to get off a Brave Bird against the Why Not. And you're going to see this is an XL Pokemon, one of maybe like the 3 or 4 XL Pokemon in this league. And just have a look at that damage. Like, that was about 40% health on the Why Not. Big bulky Why Not even like cannot stand these Brave Birds. It takes probably like 3 or 4, you know, depending on like quick attack damage and stuff. Fast move damage on the Bronzor. It would take 3 or 4 to take that one out. So like, you can actually put a decent chip into it. Like, let's say you fight the whole battle out, and you know, you've got their Bronzor down to like 30% health. You can maybe just about take it out with a Brave Bird, so that is something worth considering here. But yeah, unfortunately guys, I just got this lead way too often, which is a positive lead for Dino. You can go for the Brave Bird and dip, and of course our hardest counter is Shelmet, but you don't always swap into your hardest counter. On this occasion I did, and I think this might come back to bite me here potentially. They're going to come in with a Seal. And again, this is where Shelmet is quite good, it has a lot of neutral play. See, the thing is, I swapped into Bronzor a few occasions, and the Dino just stays in and starts getting off crunches and ends up getting you down to like 30% health, and it puts you into like a farm down range for whatever else comes in. It just gets really messy if you swap straight into Bronzor. So maybe this particular team configuration is not quite advantageous for Ducklett. I run like several different teams, so the team graphic on the left is going to be completely wrong. But you know, I see the potential in this Pokemon, but I just couldn't quite make it work, honestly. I think overall I went about 10 out of 25. You know, so I won like 10 out of 25 games using this Pokemon. Won the first 3, but it just kind of went to hell afterwards when I started just getting completely hard countered by, you know, Dinos and Bronzors quite a lot. Of course you have the teams with Why Not and Bronzor. So it was just like, why am I wasting my time with this Pokemon? I need to be running either a Bronzor team with counters to Bronzor, or just like a hardcore all-out Bronzor counter team. I feel like that's the only way to play this cup, unfortunately. And Dino, or sorry, not Dino, Ducklett just sort of sits a little bit outside of that range of a Pokemon that can really compete with the sort of annoying Pokemon that are in this league. So yeah, let me know if you guys have used Ducklett and if you've had much success with it. I think it is really matchup dependent. If you get it as you see in there, if you get it in the right scenarios, it's great. But in general, you know, that Dino lead is so hard to overcome. And yeah, honestly guys, it's a good Pokemon, but I don't recommend it. I think we've got another Dino lead right here. So this time I think we might swap it into Bronzor, because of course we want to keep our hard counter in the back. But we're going to go for a Brave Bird first. We'll eat the Body Slam. We're down to like 25% health. And that's the thing, guys, like if you take one move, it's kind of rough. The way I'm sort of looking at this is, alright, shield up, Bronzor can take this for sure. I think even in the even shield, like 2 shield scenario, it might be able to take it, but then, of course, we start getting Vulpixes, so it was super rough, these battles here. Yesterday, they were last night here. As you can see, I was actually not going to do my midnight battles, but I just randomly decided to do them, and yeah, it started off super well, and it sort of finished off pretty poorly, unfortunately, but at least you guys are getting to see it, and maybe, you know, like I said, if you guys have any suggestions, you can put them in the comments down below. Or if you were thinking about powering up this Pokemon, you know, maybe this will convince you just to maybe save your Stardust and use it on something else. But yeah, in comes our Per Shelmet, guys. He's coming into a Vulpix with loaded energy. We can farm this thing down, but what are we going to see in the back here? It is a Bronzor. And that was pretty much the story of my life yesterday, folks. I'm sure you guys know what that's like, man. Like, you swap out Pokemon to try and like deal with what you're seeing, and unfortunately it just doesn't work out, and yeah, it's just kind of tough sometimes. It's just kind of tough, but in comes a little Ducklett here, and I'm like, right, I'm baiting everything here. The opponent does 1 CMP, so that solidifies my idea that I have to bait everything. I believe that they will go for a Brave Bird on the second turn, because, you know, not a lot of people want to go down 2 shields in the opening match, so like that is a good incentive to go for your Brave Bird or your harder hitting move after the second one. So the opponent does go for it, and they're in a mess right now. They're basically forced to shield here because they're probably assuming that this is a Brave Bird, and yeah, this is kind of tough for them. They do swap out, I do expect the catch, and I decide to go for a Bubble Beam on the Bronzor, so this is a lot better here. We're running Seal right now, and Seal, of course, with the Slick damage and the debuff. I think I probably should go for Icy Wind right here, because these Aqua Tails don't do too much damage. You know, Icy Wind does less, but it means that I will take less damage as well, which I think is more beneficial. As you can see, the payback doesn't actually do too much damage, but I decide I'm going to just go straight for Aqua Tail here. I'm not sure like what is the best way to play up this match. I think definitely going for Icy Wind is good. The way I'm sort of looking at it is, we can get this down very low. We already have it debuffed, and we can actually just basically commit to a whole farm down here. The opponent comes back in with, is this Ducklett? And we're going to fire off an Icy Wind. Now the opponent is going to try and farm us down. I do not want to let them get off a Brave Bird, but they do just about reach it. So I'd rather eat this on Ducklett than anything at this point. I'm basically just using Ducklett as a third shield. Towards the end of these battles, you're just going to see me sacrifice it constantly because, like I said, it's just not really putting in the work for me currently. In comes a Dino, and we can get off a Night Slash, which will do a crazy amount of damage here, considering it's resisted. But this is another resisted move, and as you guys are about to see, this is going to do a lot of damage too. The opponent swaps out trying to catch the Night Slash, we farm it down, and then we go ahead and throw the Night Slash on the Dino to take it out. Let me know, guys, is it Dino or Dino? Let me know in the comments. And of course, we get the very necessary boost right there. I did get a decent amount of boosts with this thing. To be fair though, a lot of them were towards the end. So that's like a different team configuration. It can be very tough if you run into like Lickitung or something like that. And again, we swap back to this original team, and it is a Dino lead. So at this point, we're going for Brave Bird again. It's like, alright, you know, this is just what I'm trying to do here to win this match. Try to land a Brave Bird on Dino. I feel like maybe that just like staying in here and double baiting could potentially work. Or, you know, at least get it down very low. In comes a Seal of their own, and we're going to go for a big Bug Buzz. And this is the thing that's great about Shelmet. These Bug Buzzes are no joke, folks. They're no joke. They do a lot of damage. And at this point, I maybe could have shielded this up, but the opponent goes for an Aqua Tail, and we can survive that and get off another Body Slam. So at this point, we can get this thing low. The opponent will take Switch, but we've got one of our hardest counters for Bronzor out of here. So we come in with Ducklett here, we actually decide to shield this up, thinking that I can farm it down and maybe go for a Brave Bird against the Dino, which is exactly what we do here. Again, you know, a bait was maybe possible here, but I thought that I was only getting to one move. So I decide here, okay, they're going to go for a Crunch, but I've got a shield, and I can definitely take this in the, you know, 1-0 shield. In comes a Wooper, so this is getting a little bit rough. I go for Psyshock. I wonder if going for, you know, straight payback is better. I thought it's going to take me at least like 2 moves to take this thing out anyway, so I might as well go for a double Psyshock. That's kind of what I was thinking here. As you can see, they're getting off the back-to-back mud bombs here, and I should hopefully just about reach this before the third one, which we do, which just about works out. But the dino, it does so much damage, even the resisted dragon breaths. And we come in and farmed with Ducklett, and the dino needs to fully farm us down, but we do reach the bubble beam. This thing, like, it has an okay amount of bulk. It's not obviously the bulkiest. It's just a little duck, folks. Of course it's not going to be bulky. Anyway, guys, let's hop into this next battle here, and it looks like we're going to have a good lead. We've got Bronzor into Cottony. So Cottony will most likely swap out, and in comes a Bronzor of their own. So at this point, I'm running Ducklett. I think I prefer Ducklett out of any other Pokemon. In my personal opinion, man, Ducklett is one of the best Pokemon in this cup. Like, in terms of being underrated, it is highly underrated in this cup. It might be only ranked like 20-something, but it is really good. You're going to see here against this Bronzor, these bug bites are absolutely ripping this thing to shreds. It's kind of like Dragon Breath, you know? These are neutral bug bites, of course, with the joint Psychic Steel typing, which is neutral. And you can really just start chunking through this thing. Look at this, we're getting it down and down. Like, it's slowly but surely. We spam off bubble beams, get the attack down lower. You can maybe like shield up the first move and then just let some of the rest of them go. The opponent's like, nope, I'm not having this anymore. They come in with the Onyx, and I'm like, right, okay, Onyx, let me just debuff you here with a super effective bubble beam, which has done a crazy amount of damage. We'll come in here, this will be a Sand Tomb. Onyx is a fun pick here for sure, but I don't know, I don't think it's going to be that good in this cup. To be fair, like, bug types are not that common, and like, what else are you really going to hit? Like Duckletts maybe, but you can still get hit by bubble beams. I don't think Onyx is it, unfortunately. I did do some actually practice battles against somebody, and you know, it can put in the work, but personally I don't think so. In comes their Bronzor. So do I decide to shield this? I let this go. Okay, that was just a Psyshock. Okay, that makes sense. And what was this that came in? Was this the Cottony? Yes, it is the Cottony. We're going to swap straight into our Ducklett here, which is doing super effective damage on this thing. Building up to the Brave Bird. Of course, we're going to beat it with the Bubble Beam. Let's see what the opponent wants to do. Psycho, lets it go. You hate to see it, folks. You hate to see it. It's like, if I beat, I lose. If I go for the move, I lose. They let that one go as well. So at this point, like, I'm just committing to the farm down with bubble beams. This will be a grass knot, which of course with the joint water typing will do a decent amount of damage. And we can farm this all the way down, get a debuff on the Bronzor. And this is where Ducklett can be quite nice sometimes. Maybe running this in the back is definitely the way to play it, because you know, having it in that mid-game matchup where you can debuff the opponent and leave, you know, that could be advantageous. Can we bite this thing down, ladies and gents? We get off a bubble beam. Ladies and gents, this is getting super close. The bubble beam goes through. We catch on the Bronzor. This is probably like my best play of like the whole video. And we catch and we can farm down, and the clock's just about to run out, guys. But there you go, guys. That's a little Ducklett showcase. Do I recommend it? No. Was it fun to use in certain cases? No, not really. Actually. Do you like ducks? Yeah, I like ducks. So, you know, if you like ducks, use it. That's pretty much all I can say. But thank you very much for watching, guys. Like I said, drop a like, drop a sub, join the Discord, and become a member if you wish to. Which again is completely optional, but it does of course support the channel. And thank you very much, everybody. We really do appreciate the support in these videos. It's been a ton of fun making these, and you know, even when we do have bad days where, you know, we drop elo and things aren't going too well, I still love making these videos, and I hope you guys enjoy them too. Thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your day and a great weekend. And there's like a little Pidgey thing. Go catch some Pidgeys, you know, because we've not seen them for a while. Thanks, everybody, and I'll catch you all tomorrow.